Welcome back to Hot Water Wrestling. Yeah, I'm back again and posted a reply to, I am posting a reply to the Billy and Bob Wrestling Show, guest starring Stevie Breach. Just figured I'd chime in on some stuff. I thought it was a good podcast. Three guys who know their shit, definitely. And hey, Billy Paz, to your listeners, you said go fuck yourself. You go fuck yourself, pal. Huh? And Bobby, you know what? Jack Swagger, it's pretty damn cool. Yeah. But anyways, to get back on the serious tip, because this is serious. Wrestling is so serious. There was discussion about ROH, and then it led into managers in the WWE. And, I enjoy the ROH product. I think ROH is totally awesome. I wish it was more accessible to me. Really, you have to buy the DVDs if you want to follow ROH. You can order pay-per-views, but not every outfit offers their pay-per-views. It just doesn't really seem like an accessible promotion to me. And I think that's why most fans are kind of intimidated by ROH, because they really don't know what it is, and they're just afraid to take the plunge. But I assure everybody out there, if you love wrestling, and especially classic wrestling, you really should check out ROH. And if you can, go to one of their shows. I've never been to one of their shows. I'm not sure if they've ever come to Florida. Hopefully next year during WrestleMania. It's in Miami. That's where I live. Go Heat. And I'll be able to check out ROH, because I know they have a whole WrestleMania weekend when all the promotions come into town. But I definitely will back it up and say that ROH's wrestling product is far superior to WWE's wrestling product. WWE is trying to be an entertainment company. And the main reason I made this video is because I wanted to say something is, right now the WWE is trying to be everything to everybody all the time. And they're just trying to create too much of a mixed bag of entertainment right now, which detracts from the actual product of what made them today, which is wrestling. They really got into it during the Attitude Era, and everyone talks about the Attitude Era like it was the greatest thing ever. And believe you me, I love the Attitude Era, absolutely. But there were some things about the Attitude Era that have carried over now that has hurt the business. The long, drawn-out skits, people invading people's homes, some of just the more outrageous stuff that they did that really had not a lot to do with wrestling in a ring. The soap opera aspect of wrestling was really elevated during the Attitude Era. And though back then it made a little more sense in the context it was in, it's carried over today in that they still try to keep that soap opera going. One thing they have done with today's WWE product is that they don't have as many outrageous skits. And when they tend to have outrageous skits, like the Edge and Paul Bearer Kane thing, it comes off as just being goofy, absurd, and just bad television, doesn't it? So hopefully they learned their lesson in that regard. But getting back on track to what I'm saying is, we know that the WWE has, I suppose, taken wrestling out of their name. Now they're just WWE. They're not World Wrestling Entertainment. I don't know how well that's going. I think a lot of people still recognize it as World Wrestling Entertainment. It's been a very slow kind of push in that direction. But there's been a lot of talk of Vince McMahon getting his own network. And I think if that happens, if the WWE is able to get their own network and have 24 hours of programming, they can start to separate their entertainment from their wrestling. And maybe, just maybe, okay, it's either going to go one of two ways. It's either going to get better or just go so nosedive downhill it's not even funny. But I'm optimistic in saying that maybe, just maybe, the wrestling part of the company, the wrestling part of that network, will improve because, will improve because they'll be able to focus more on just wrestling and take all that entertainment and fill it on the other hours that are on this network. And maybe we'll get a pure wrestling show out of this whole transition. Perhaps maybe they'll wise up and have 2 wrestling shows. Have your PG show, entertainment, goofy show that's on during the day or on the weekdays after school or whatever for more children, and then keep their Monday night Raw product geared towards, your 18 to 24 and on demographic. And maybe we'll actually see some good come out of it and see some real wrestling return to the WWE. They still do manage to put on good in-ring work. We still have, veterans in the company, very few left, but we still do have guys, like a Christian, or I'm even going to say, a Jericho or a CM Punk. These guys, they want to put on great matches. They live for it. They have a passion for what they do. That's why they go out there and take bumps every night, because they love it. It's not because they want to be on a soap opera or they want to have an action figure or whatever. It's the reason they got in this business, because their heart and soul, that's what they wanted to do. So, in the confines of what WWE gives them, they still do put on good matches. It just takes a lot to get there sometimes. And sometimes those good matches can be bogged down by just bad taste in WWE pushing bad angles and stuff. But, it does bother me that WWE, and I said this in a video kind of recently, just totally, has botched their tag team division. They could have a strong tag team division. Legacy could still be together. I think they'd be stronger as a tag team right now if they're not going to really push these guys. I don't like the Dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick. Well, I guess he's not Dashing Cody Rhodes anymore. But I don't like this face mask he has on. It's retarded, in my opinion. I just don't like it. They've totally buried Ted. And then the Hart Dynasty, they broke them up, which was really bad. Bad idea. I don't really see Tyson Kidd or David Hart Smith getting over at all. I saw in the WrestleMania DVD that David Hart Smith came out in a cowboy hat and a cowboy vest, and I was just like, what the fuck? You'd have a much stronger outfit there as the Hart Dynasty, the Usos, Crime Time, if they were still together. On down the line, they could be showcasing good talent on their roster. Like Zack Ryder, there's someone who struggles and struggles and struggles. He could be a part of a good tag team. There could be a strong tag division that's interesting. In every pay-per-view, there could be a match for the tag team titles. There's no reason why we couldn't have that, but unfortunately, we don't. The tag team titles are just kind of a prop. They're just kind of there. You know what I mean? That's where, hopefully, if they do get this network thing going, maybe the wrestling part can be left alone and their wrestling show can elevate to be more of a good wrestling show. On the podcast, they were talking about managers. I couldn't agree more. Back in the day, you had the Master of Style, Slick, Mr. Fuji, Classy Freddie Blassie, of course, Bobby the Brain Heenan, on down the line, Oliver Humperdinck, Jimmy Hart, all of these great managers, and all they did was add to the product. They made everything better. They had so much heat, those managers, and I loved to hate them back when I was a kid. They were so much a part of the match and the outcome of the match. You always had to look out for Sneaky Jimmy Hart and his microphone, or Slick and his cane, Fuji with the salts, all that stuff. And yeah, they could most certainly bring that back. We could stand to benefit from that. And I think one of the guys said in the podcast that, some of these guys who aren't great on the mic, but are great in the ring, could use a good mouthpiece like a manager. And I think that's a big reason why they had managers back in the day. Not only to create heat, but to be a mouthpiece for guys who necessarily weren't the greatest on the mic. But anyways, yeah, ROH, going back to that, completely different than WWE. And the way I see it is, it's just whatever I'm in the mood for. It's WWE's like going to see a concert in a big arena, and ROH is like going to see a band in a nightclub, you know what I mean? And a lot of times you have more fun in the nightclub, you know? It's just the way it is. So if you haven't checked out ROH, I highly recommend that you do if you love wrestling. Give it a chance. And, well, thanks for listening to Hot Water Wrestling, and I'll see you next time.